Now, I noticed on the website that when Indigenous theatre was being established, you had a series of canoes come in.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, that was that emerged. That was Laurie Marchand's brilliance. She was like, I wanted to, when we were doing the first Indigenous theater season, and we wanted to kick it off with a bang. I had always imagined, what if we brought in the spirit of powwow, of gathering, of sharing, of celebration into this building and occupied it for a good chunk of time. Like just made a presence. And at a powwow, you have a grand entry where everybody comes in like in a big parade, and it's led by, you know, the leader, the elders and leaders and all of that. And it's gorgeous, and it's powerful, and it's a massive statement. And Laurie was like, well, the water's right there. Like, what if we did a canoe grand entry? And it would acknowledge the Algonquin and the roots here. And the fact that, you know, like when we were doing the lyre, the Indigenous lyre here, one of the things that came out, one of the learnings that came out of that is that on the site of where the NAC sits, they used to make canoes here. It was a place where they used to harvest the trees, because it's close to the water, right there down the river. They would harvest the trees here to make canoes. And so that's why we had a canoe, we had Panook build a canoe in the lobby as part of that celebration. And so the canoe grand entry was sort of born out of that idea of a procession of canoes down the canal, and we come in and we do like a kind of a grand entry into the foyer. And then we did our West Coasty kind of ceremony of blanketing, honoring by giving blankets. And so we blanketed our artistic elders in a ceremony just in the lobby there.
Because so many Canadians use canoes, but there's such a powerful image of our connection to First Nations and the land. I mean, one of the first, well, my political awakening came in bits and pieces, but one of the major chunks of my political awakening was the James Bay Electric Project and the Cree of Northern Quebec paddling down the Hudson to New York to make the point that the power was taken from Indigenous lands. And it was the image of the canoes going down to New York, the kind of like, you know, the layers of blindness we have, right? Layers of onion, you gotta get rid of them. But it was that image that really kind of whacked me in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for the longest time, Indigenous communities have been invisible. And that history has been invisible to most Canadians. And we're in an era now where it's not so invisible. We're really loud, we're really present, we're really assertive.
Is this the early 20-year-old version?
Of Canada, or?
Yeah. No, well, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I've always felt we're incomplete, we're half a country.
Yeah.
We're half a country, we have a half life. And until First Nations actually, we are with First Nations on this land, then we'll have a full life. Up to then, we've kind of been living a half country.
And we're at odds all the time because we have competing interests, right? As opposed to being in alignment and centering Indigenous values and presence.
Do you think we can ever get there?
I have hope. I mean, I think that the cynical part of me sees the negative side, but the hopeful artist side of me is always striving for, you know, coming together, finding common ground, moving forward in a good way.
Are you an optimist?
People who know me would never describe me as an optimist, but ultimately I'd have to be, or else I wouldn't be in a role like this, I think. I hold my optimism close to my heart, but I think outwardly I present as a pretty pessimistic character.